Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to dive deep into the powerful words of Psalm 53. We're going to take a journey together from its pretty stark diagnosis of the human heart all the way to its passionate cry for deliverance. You'll see, this ancient text has so much to say to us right here, right now.
Wow, the psalm just jumps right in, doesn't it? No warm-up. It opens with this incredibly blunt statement that gets right to the core of the issue. And notice, it's not about what someone might say out loud to argue a point. It's about the conviction that's held deep down in the heart. This is our starting point.
All right, so here's our roadmap for this journey. We've got 6 key stages. We'll start with the fool's declaration, then we'll flip the script and see things from heaven's divine perspective. After that, we'll explore the blindness of iniquity, and then, this is the exciting part, we'll witness God's sudden reversal. We'll finish up by hearing that longing for salvation and figuring out our own steps of faith.
Okay, let's get into it. That initial diagnosis from verse 1. You can almost picture the psalmist David, like a spiritual doctor here, pointing to the very root of humanity's sickness. Do you see the cause and effect happening here? It's so clear. The statement made inside the heart, there is no God. That's the cause. And the effects? They follow immediately. Corruption, abominable actions, and this universal statement that there is none that doeth good. The inner belief completely dictates the outward behavior.
Now, it's absolutely crucial we understand what the Bible means when it uses the word fool. This isn't an insult about someone's IQ, not at all. It's a moral description. It's talking about someone who is spiritually unwise because they have made a willful choice to reject the reality of God.
And this gets to a core principle you see all through the Bible. What you truly believe about God is the bedrock of your character. A heart that decides to reject God, as the Apostle Paul later explains in Romans chapter 1, well, it becomes darkened, and that inevitably leads to moral decay. You just can't separate the belief from the behavior. They're two sides of the same coin.
All right, get ready for a big shift. The camera, so to speak, is about to zoom way out. We're moving from the fool's perspective on earth all the way up to God's sovereign perspective in heaven. He's about to give his own assessment.
This is such a powerful image, isn't it? God isn't some distant, uninterested being. No, he is actively, intentionally looking, searching. And what is he searching for? It's interesting. He's not looking for perfect people. He's looking for anyone's heart is pointed in his direction. Anyone who gets it, who understands they need him, and is actually seeking him.
And here's the result of that divine inspection. And man, is it sobering. The verdict is universal, no exceptions. Everyone has turned away. The language is so strong, all together become filthy. It's like milk that's soured and gone completely bad. And the conclusion is just absolute. There is none that doeth good, no, not one.
And you've got to understand, this isn't just David's personal opinion. This is a divine diagnosis. In fact, the Apostle Paul quotes this exact passage word for word in the book of Romans to build his airtight case for why every single one of us needs a Savior. This single verdict just demolishes any idea of self-righteousness and perfectly sets the stage for the good news of the gospel.
And that diagnosis leads us right into our third section. Here, David starts to examine the symptoms and the root cause of all this wicked behavior.
You can almost hear the astonished frustration in David's voice, can't you? He's like, don't they get it? Have they no knowledge? They oppress God's people as casually as they eat lunch. It's this thoughtless, predatory cruelty. And then, in the very same breath, the psalmist reveals exactly why they're so blind.
Here it is, the root cause. It's something we could call practical atheism. See, it's not just about what you say you believe, it's about how you live. And the dead giveaway, the key phrase is, they have not called upon God. A life without prayer, a life that just doesn't acknowledge God's existence or authority, that is the fertile soil where all these evil actions grow.
But just when the situation looks totally hopeless, the psalm takes this incredible, dramatic turn. In this next section, we see God step in, suddenly and decisively.
Boom! All of a sudden, these arrogant oppressors are seized with great fear. And get this, where no fear was. There's no logical reason for them to be afraid. This isn't just a natural panic. This is a supernatural terror sent directly from God. He himself has stepped in to fight for his people.
And the imagery here, wow. Having your bones scattered in the ancient world meant it was over. It was a sign of total, crushing, humiliating defeat. No recovery, no proper burial. It's a picture of the absolute finality of God's judgment on those who oppose him and his people.
Now, from that intense moment of judgment, the psalmist shifts its tone one last time. And you know, it doesn't end in vengeance. It ends with this deep, heartfelt prayer for complete restoration.
This is the cry of a heart that is just yearning for God's full and complete deliverance. The prayer is for salvation to come from Zion. That's the place of God's holy presence. It's a plea for God to rescue his people from captivity, not just a physical one, but a spiritual one. And what's the promised result? Pure joy, rejoicing and gladness.
So where does this ancient cry find its ultimate answer? Well, it's found in a person, Jesus Christ. Hundreds of years later, when the old man Simeon held the baby Jesus in the temple, he said, "For my eyes have seen your salvation." Jesus is the salvation that came out of Zion. He's the one who brings us back from the captivity of sin.
Okay, so this has been an incredible journey through this psalm. But what do we do with all this? How does it apply to our lives today? Well, in our final section, we're going to look at some really practical steps of faith.
First things first, acknowledge the diagnosis. We just have to start by agreeing with God's assessment that, yep, we all need a Savior. Second, call upon God daily. Let's reject that practical atheism of a prayerless life and actually seek Him. Third, trust in His protection. When we face opposition or fear, we can rest in His power. And finally, number 4, rejoice in the cure. Let's celebrate the amazing salvation that we have only in Jesus Christ.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this powerful question that comes right out of the psalm itself. If God, right at this very moment, looked down from heaven into your heart, what would He find you seeking? Is your heart pointed toward Him?
Hey, thank you so much for joining us for this explainer on Psalm 53. We really pray it's been an encouragement to your faith. This devotional was brought to you by the You Need Faith in Jesus team.